how I'm designing my November bullet journal spread. So for this one, I actually felt very inspired by a trip that I took back in September. I went to Washington State for the first time, and I actually went there because I was doing a half Ironman with a couple of my friends, and it was such a beautiful place. I'll include some pictures of like the trip and everything, but it was so beautiful, and I felt inspired because there were so many like mountains and pine trees, and it was like the scenery was just really beautiful. And so for this spread, I wanted to combine like a fall feel with different like evergreen trees, and so it's not necessarily like realistic. I included a bunch of different like pine trees, but I know they don't turn colors. They are evergreen, so they are green all year long, but the great thing with art is I can kind of create whatever I want. So I decided that I wanted to do a bunch of like pine trees, but have them be different fall leaf colors. So that's kind of what I did. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and get started.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I have my little acorn candle here that I got from Aldi, which I just love how it has this like gold top to it. So anyway, I had to light my candle to kind of set the mood, and it just makes the whole setup feel very cozy, and I'm just enjoying that like it's starting to feel a little bit cooler outside. I mean, we still have had some days where like it's been really warm, but it is starting to get a little bit cooler, and I am loving it. So anyway, I kind of did this basic sketch of like a mountain, and I wanted it to have a little bit of snow on the top and have a little bit of definition. So I just like did some jagged lines. These were not like perfect or anything, and so I'll go in with a little bit more detail once I start painting, but I just kind of wanted to briefly outline everything with my Micron pens just to kind of have a frame of reference for when I start painting. And I kind of like the combination of ink and watercolor together. I just think it gives it a more interesting like texture and a different look to it. So yeah, and I did some super sketchy basic outlines for all the trees here as well. And I did a few different shapes. So the ones in the back are a bit more loose. The ones towards the front, I wanted to kind of give them a little bit more shape to it. And then I kind of just did a basic like sketch for like the ground. Didn't go too detailed with this, just super simple, and I kind of like how it turned out. And then I wrote out the month of November in a little cursive font here, and then just wrote out all of the days of the week and all of the dates for the month. And this one is a super simple cover page and calendar page. I have really been struggling with my time management this month. I think I'm getting better at it. It's still a work in progress. There's been a lot going on. So I'm really trying to make time for everything, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. And I have to do a bit more of a simple spread than something a little bit more complicated or more interesting. So I'm working on it, and hopefully for next year, I will have a little bit more time, or at least be able to manage my time a little bit better. But especially with like the holidays coming up, there's just kind of a lot going on. So a lot more like preparation and work that I have to do in general. So but I'm trying my best to find a balance. So anyway, I used this brush. It has kind of a flat edge, and I thought that this would be really great for the mountain just because I wanted to have a sharper edge as I was painting, instead of kind of a rounded brush. So I really liked using this one, and I just kind of mixed up a gray color, and I think I used like some greens and reds to kind of blend that together, and then a little bit of purple because I like having that in a mountain color, and then I left some white space there to kind of let it feel like it was snow, but then I went in with a lighter gray to kind of, I didn't want it to be too perfect of a white color for snow. I wanted there to be a little bit more texture and make it look a little bit more realistic. So I added in some gray so it wasn't such a bright, like white color. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I was trying to do. So yeah, and then for the trees, this is where I had like a lot of fun, and I just kind of there wasn't like a ton of planning or intention behind this. I just really wanted to have a lot of different like oranges and browns and reds and some greens, and I just kind of mixed whatever colors I kind of felt like, and then I would let it dry and then kind of go over some of the shadows. And again, like I think I've mentioned this in other videos, but this paper isn't really the best for watercolor, so I have to play around with it, or like I have to use the watercolors in a different way. The paper doesn't absorb the watercolor like a normal watercolor paper does. So I had to keep that in mind as I was painting this, and I didn't want it to be too watery because it would warp the page a little bit. So I tried to have minimal water as I was painting these, if that makes sense. So, and then I would go over it with like another layer when it dried, just to add in a little bit more detail. Because as you can see, when it dries, it kind of flattens it a little bit, and any darker colors become a lot more muted and a lot more neutral, which is really nice. But if I'm wanting to have some more contrasting colors, like I need to go back in a little bit later and like add those in. So but yeah, I this was really like relaxing and really therapeutic to work on. And again, I wasn't really stressed and trying to make it look perfect. It was supposed to be a little free flowing, and I did switch to a kind of flat rounded brush for the leaves. I felt like that actually worked a lot better, and I was able to achieve kind of the look that I was going for. And so yeah, I really enjoyed using this brush because I don't usually use this one. I tend to use more of the finer, smaller, rounded kind of pointed ones because I like to get the details in with this, but this brush was perfect for these trees. At least I thought so. So yeah. And like, as you can see, as I'm like kind of blending all of the colors together, they do kind of flow into each other. And so I wanted it to kind of not look so harsh with the flow of like green to yellow to red. I kind of wanted it to flow a little bit better. And so, yeah, I think I achieved that, where you can see some pops of like orange and red, but then there's still kind of some green and brown. So yeah, but anyway, moving on to the weekly spread here. I wanted this one to also be pretty simple and have it, be similar to the cover page. So I started off with the calendar kind of up here at the top left corner, and I used the same little font style for the word November, which I really like this. I think it looks really good. It's pretty easy to replicate, and I just added in a little bit of shadows here. And yeah, I just really like how it worked out. And I kind of did the same thing where I did all of these different trees at the bottom, and I just sketched them all out with my pencil beforehand. And I just kind of did a line of them. I decided not to include the mountain on this spread just because I did want to have space for actually planning out my to-do list and the days of the week. Although now that I'm like looking at it, I could have done kind of a little mountain peak at the top right corner of the second page. That probably would have looked nice, but yeah, really didn't think about it until now. So yeah, I did the same thing with how I painted these trees, used the same brush, and I did end up going a little bit more vibrant with the first layer of colors just because, as I said, like when they dry, they become a little bit more muted and neutral, which is really nice, but I wanted to kind of have them pop a little bit more. So I did blend the colors to be a little bit more concentrated and more colorful on the initial layer so that when it dried, it would achieve the results that I really was going for and wanted. So I think this worked out really well. And yeah, I did a lot of different color greens too. So I did some warmer ones where I added in yellow, and then other greens I added in some purple and blue. And then for like the brown and like orange options, I did some like reds and oranges, and then added in a little bit of maybe purple or green to kind of balance it out, if that makes sense. Like make it a little bit more neutral, feel a little bit more like rustic. So So yeah, this one was honestly, I think I already mentioned this, but it was just really fun and very relaxing to work on, and there just wasn't a lot of pressure for it to be perfect or anything like that. Sometimes I can get in my head about making it look perfect for you guys, but this one I just really wanted to enjoy and like not have like the pressure of it like turning out a certain way, and just kind of yeah enjoy having this like cozy relaxing evening. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for the painting technique. There wasn't really a ton of strategy with this. It was more kind of just intuitive, and yeah, it was very fun. So, and then I ended up going in with my one of my brush pens, which I use this one in a lot of my spreads, probably most of them. It's a little peach color, and I just kind of did these little circles over each of the days of the week just to kind of give it a little bit of contrast. And looking back, I probably would have done it a little bit differently because I don't really like how the peach color looks with the trees. I think I would have rather used one of like my almond colors instead, just because I think the peach one was a little too pink, and I think I would have rather it be more of a neutral color. But that's okay. I still like how it turned out. But yeah, so here is the final flip through. If you have any questions, please let me know. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.